Not today.
Yeah,
You're off the hook.
we're good.
All right, you want me to start? All right, I'll start out here a little bit. This is my eighth international mission, and so missions they run very similarly, but they're all different. This was a fantastic mission, but it's always neat to see a first timer like Glenn experience this, to really understand what Rotary International, the international part of Rotary, is about. So this is going to be more Glenn's show. I'm just here for color commentary. So I'll turn it over to Glenn.
All right. So I wouldn't have gotten to go if it wasn't for Denise being stupid and not getting her passport renewed in time. So I want to thank Denise, because she would have beaten me out because she's been on other missions before, and I wouldn't have been able to go if Ken Wolf didn't have some medical issues. So I want to thank you for having medical issues so I could go. You know? So the ironic thing is we could have used both of them in addition to what we had. They had 50 people, and we could have used more, but that's how I got to go. I was on the list for a year, and I just kept saying, yeah, I'm still interested, and then finally I was on a plane. So anyways, so we went to Zambia. Zambia is like 400 days away from here. Took us 2 days to get there. Everybody was wearing these nice shirts, except the leader of our whole group, who never seemed to have one on. But when you wear these through the airports, you definitely get through everything. You know, it's much better. So it's a good idea to do that when you're doing this. You have a little authority. It's kind of nice. So this was the money. So for the I grant, it was $68,600. These are the clubs who contributed. Of course, we did as well. That's just the I portion. The medical and the dental portion was added to this, and it was a total of $250,000. So we were the smallest part,
which was the largest VTT ever in Rotary.
And the VTT it's not just, we don't just go there and do a mission and help people. They train, all the doctors train other people.
It stands for Vocational Training Team.
Yeah.
And the goal was to make our visits more sustainable. So we used to go provide our services, but the question was, what are we leaving? So now we train people. We train the local doctors and nurses, and we do lectures. I lectured on refractive errors and things like that, and trying to be more sustainable with our work.
So we left out of Dulles. You see those crates? So each one of us had to take 2 of those as luggage. That's all the supplies for the I team only, not the other groups. I forget how many total there were. 20 something, maybe.
We had 18.
18 crates. We flew Ethiopian Airlines the whole way, except maybe one flight was not them. The craziest thing about Ethiopian Airlines, has anybody ever flown Ethiopian? And I don't know the right term anymore. It's either a stewardess or a flight attendant, I don't know. They all look exactly the same. It's like you see 2 women and you're like, oh, they're twins. And then you see 30 of them and you go, well, how can this be? But they have an exact type of person that they hire. It's the craziest thing. They're all the same. Can't do that here anymore. So this is how we went, which I was kind of surprised. We went north. You flew over the Black Sea, which, not too far above that plane is where all the conflicts are right now. So I was kind of surprised that we went that route. When we came home, we did not go that way. I don't know if that changed anything, but we flew into Addis Ababa. I don't know. How long was that whole flight? It was like 12, 13 hours or something.
16 hours.
Crazy.
And then 4 hours down.
And then 4 hours from Addis down to Lusaka. Now, this difference here from Addis down to Lusaka, that was pretty much a short flight, but it was like 6 hours compared to the other. That's to California and back, basically. It's crazy. So we get to Lusaka. We're in the airport. We didn't get our crates right away, and everybody's starting to panic. And at the very end, the carousels have all stopped, and we're like, because without those, we don't have a mission. Finally, they brought them out, and everything was good. We had to go through customs, and everything went pretty smooth. We're outside. We're loading everything up on this truck, which these people on this truck, they basically stayed with us the whole time because they took the stuff to and from all the different locations that we were at. So they basically hired these people to be there with us the whole time. We get to a hotel in Lusaka. We stayed overnight. It was probably in its heyday a really, really nice place, but it's kind of been let go a little bit. But it was nice compared to what we thought we would be in. The next day we get on a bus for 10-hour, 12-hour, I don't even remember.
It actually took 11 hours.
It took 11 hours to go north to where we're going. On the way home, we flew that route. It took 45 minutes. I don't know about Joe, but I would have paid 10 grand to take a flight. This was the worst part of the trip. Everything else was gravy. This was the worst part. Yeah. It's like driving from here to Maine in a bus, old bus, on bumpy roads. But there we are. So along the way, and I have thousands of pictures, and I can't show you all, but along the way, this is what you see for 10 hours. You know, they're just tiny little village things along the roadway. It doesn't seem like anybody lives too far away from the road. They're all right on the road. But anytime the bus would stop, because we had other passengers in our bus, we thought it was a chartered bus for Rotary, but no, that must mean something different in Africa. So we had one side of the bus and they had other people on the other. So every time we would stop, you would just get flooded with people selling whatever, you know. Of course, you know, we're just stopping, dropping people off. If you have to go to the bathroom, they just stop the bus.
Yep, go out in the bush.
Yeah, I didn't take any of those pictures, but I have them if you want to see them. And you see, you know, just typical Africa, you know, see the lady with all the fruit. You know, look at the smile on this guy's face. He's probably biking for 6 days and he's happy. But you see all this stuff along the side of the road for 10 hours. I can't stress that enough. It's not like a city and a town. It's just this for 10 hours. It's crazy. You see these big trees? What are they called? Babo trees or babo, whatever. We saw a lot of these big ones. I mean, these are hundreds of years old. So there's one of them that we saw on the way. We get to the place we're going. It's called, what is it? Misembe Gardens? Is that what it is? This was Joe and I's villa for the 6 days. It's one room, 2 beds, and a bathroom. And they had, I don't know, maybe 20 of these where everybody was staying. This is the next morning. We're going to the first day. The building on the left is where we ate breakfast and dinner every night. And then we're just, the group's walking to the bus. We get on a brand new bus from 1974. And then they have, some of the people were shuttled around these little safari vehicles, which is kind of cool. We're at the first place. Now, the Rotary Club of McFowey is the host club of the reason we're there, because you have to have a host club. They have 9 members, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And several of them were there every day. So they were good. They did what they're supposed to do for us. And then at the end, we had a big dinner, and they all came. But this was, you know, we first get there, we took a couple pictures, and then we got to get set up. So I'm kind of focusing on the I team. You'll see some pictures of the other groups, but you get there, you don't know ahead of time how we're going to do this. It's like if you watch MASH, you know, it's like you got to figure this out. Like, what rooms are we going to be in, and how are we going to hook all this equipment up? I got a fancy thing here. Where's it? Yeah, see the phoropters right there? We brought those, and we have to screw them into the walls, and then take the phoropter piece down at the end of the day, because you don't want anybody to steal them. Why? But the security is not the greatest. So we had 5 of those. We had to, you know, bolt into walls and get everything set up and figure out a flow of traffic of people.
And one of the things that was different about this one that Ken can appreciate, normally we set up once. We had moved 3 times this time. We had to do this 3 times.
And each time was completely different. But, you know, we set up, everything was good. There's Joe, and he was working out of a closet for 2 days. That's a closet that they're in, him and Amy.
With a tin roof when it rained.
Yeah. And then right outside of that little window is the frame area. So when people would get fitted for glasses, they would come over and get frames, which I'll let you explain a little bit about the Danish people, what they did, because it was quite remarkable.
So we had a company from Denmark. I forget the name.
I forget it too.
They actually donated all the frames, and he had 14,000 frames. Yeah. He brought 3,000 of them, I think. What he did, he went to all his accounts in Denmark and said, we'll buy back any frames that aren't selling to give to this mission. and then gave them a discount on buying new frames. So it was quite a donation from
The total take of all the frames that he has for this and future is worth over $1 million.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But people were getting really good glasses. You
right.
know,
These are high quality glasses.
very nice. So it was something that they'll never ever be able to afford, or any. You know, it was kind of amazing, and the people did know that. They knew they were getting some really nice stuff.
And the thing that's different about these Rotary missions is that we're not taking donated glasses like the Lions Club collects, that sort of thing. We're actually taking brand new frames, and part of the grant money, a decent amount, it's over $20,000, I think, goes towards making the exact prescription. So it allows us to put money back into the local economy. All the glasses were collected and taken back to Lusaka, the capital of Zambia. And right now they're being made in the exact prescriptions. And eventually they'll be sent back and the local Rotarians will distribute those. So it's a different way to do it.
So just some other, that's still that first location, just what it looks like, people waiting. People were there before we got there every day, just waited, stand in line all day. So in the eye areas, they have different stations, just some other pictures of the area. It did rain twice, and when it rained hard. Everything floods instantly, but that was one thing that we were also told: it never rains. Just like we were told,
they all speak English.
Everybody speaks English.
Like
Nobody speaks
20,
English.
20% speak Itmos. They all spoke Kunda.
Yeah. The guy on the motorcycle, he passed us going out one day, and then as we were going home, we saw him set up on the road selling his wares. But he drove past the clinic. It was pretty funny. One night we were able to drive out of town and go to some areas where they thought they could see some animals, and we were lucky. We did see some. I don't have, that's not the greatest pictures because we couldn't get real close, but we saw some elephants. There's a hippo. There's some deer. We saw a white crocodile, and I don't have any videos on here, but we had a couple baboons run past the bus, which we got on video. Pretty cool. Connie she was not the leader of the whole mission, but she was our leader. She was with us all the time, and she took care of us. I will go on a mission trip with her anytime, no doubt. She was really
Connie
good.
took care of the team.
She took care of the team, definitely. And how old is she? She's like 70 something, right? I mean, she had just as much energy as anybody else. It was crazy. So this was one of the places where we couldn't drive through. It goes into one of the parks where you go on safaris, but we went right up to the gate. Oops.
They don't drive on the wrong. They drive on the wrong side, so Connie's not driving that.
Yeah, she's not driving. It looks like she's driving, but she's not driving. And she's standing up, by the way. We bust on her. This lady over here, I forget how to pronounce her name, but she was in charge of the place we stayed at, and she was wonderful. She took care of us. She made sure that we had food, and it's different. Eggs don't taste like eggs. Chicken doesn't taste like chicken, but we had food. Nobody went hungry, and she was great. And then I thought this was pretty cool. It's poor. There's no money anywhere, but man, they figure out how to play soccer. That was pretty cool. We saw kids playing soccer there. Yeah, and this, I'll just let you read it. We don't have that around here. Maybe Rotary should start that. Mobile circumcision clinics. Anyways, that was pretty funny. We saw that vehicle.
Volunteering there?
No, I was not volunteering. Just a photo op. So this was the I team. Yeah, everybody was there. I think. Yeah. So we had people from this area: Lancaster, York, Denmark. Where's Vicky from? York.
York.
Yeah. Other countries of other teams. There was somebody from which countries in Africa? Uganda.
Mozambique, Uganda. I don't think we had anybody from Ghana.
No. California.
We had a lot of Californians, Reno, Nevada people. Yep. We had a doctor from Brazil who lives in Brussels.
Which guy?
He actually moved to Brussels now.
One of the doctors, Rotary went and did a mission trip when he was a kid. Which one was that? Was that the Brazil?
Uganda.
Uganda guy?
Yeah.
But that's kind of a cool story. 15, 18 years ago, his village was visited by a Rotary group, and now he's on a mission trip, which is kind of cool. And he told that story at dinner one night. The one doctor, one of the doctors would do a David Letterman top 5 every night, which was hilarious. Which, was
It's Dr. Dan Deal. If anybody knows him, he's from Quarry. He practiced in Quarry.
Yeah, that was funny. The 5 things you noticed, one of them was everybody speaks English. That was funny. But anyways, so this is the second place. So we get to a new place, bare walls. We got to figure it out, drill more holes, figure out. Now, we didn't have 20 feet to do the eye test, so we had to do some math. Cut all the stuff in half because we only had 10 feet, and things like that. You just have to adapt. Just some other pictures of people hanging around. We had little registration areas. People would come and, are they going to medical, dental, or eye? They sign up and then they get in the lines. These are the dental guys. They pulled a lot of teeth. A lot of teeth. Yeah. The surgical areas, she had to sterilize all the equipment. And one day we were over there and she's like, all I have to do is hold it up in the air because it's over 100 degrees and it sterilizes. But they had some challenges getting stuff sterile.
That's actually dental.
That's dental. Okay. The kids are cute as hell. I don't want to say anything about it, but they're everywhere, and there's no ugly kids in Africa. And they're just having fun. Now you see this right here. Whoops. See this little thing right here? These are 3 water bottles that this kid had strung together, put wheels on, and he's pulling it around with a thing. It's like you just make his own toy, which was cool.
That's one thing we learn on these missions is that our trash is their treasure.
Yeah. So you see the little Matchbox cars. One of the girls from Denmark, Maria, she brought Matchbox cars, which I thought was ingenious, and gave them to kids, which was really, they just thought that was the coolest thing because obviously they're not getting those. Oops, sorry, let me go back. So we had a busload of albino kids come every day or every place. So 3 busloads, about 90 people, I think, in our total numbers. And, they would come and we'd have to pretty much stop what we were doing and try and get them through because you want to get them through. They came from long distances.
Right. People with albinism have lesser vision because their eyes haven't developed properly. They're very light sensitive. Their skin's very sensitive to the sun. We gave them all sunscreen and sunglasses and transitions glasses. They're the only people that got the transitions where it gets darker in the sun.
What about
telescopes so they can see better for far away. Yeah.
And that was just amazing. Some of these kids can't see at all. Like they couldn't see the big E on the chart, but you gave them one of those telescopes and they look outside and they said, "Oh my God, that's the bus." Mm-hmm. Like for the first time they're seeing stuff far away. Otherwise, it's like right in front of them. But they were just really nice people, and I should say that to everybody. Nobody complained. They're waiting in line all day. It's hot. These people are so polite, so grateful that we're there. It was just quite amazing, actually. If you tried, I could think about doing this same exact thing in Philadelphia. You'd have to have police. You'd have to have, but not there. It was really cool. Playing with the kids. That's Maria. She really had a soft spot for all these kids. Going home one day, Kathleen's sound asleep on the bus, which I have no idea how you could do that because that bus is horrible. There's one of the Dr. Bob. He's from Lancaster, and he's doing a training. That's just another view of the training. So there's Vicky. Her and I work together. And this girl here, Alana, she showed up the very first day and went through the eye portion of it. And then she kind of hung around. And that's when we realized, okay, we need interpreters. This is not working. And she kind of sensed that. And she came up to us and said, "Hey, do you want me to help you?" "Oh, yeah, great." She stuck with us. Short story. It's a long story, but short story. She stuck with us all 6 days. She walked to all the places that we drove to. She got there, and she was fabulous. Young girl who just graduated school, which I don't know necessarily exactly what that means there, but she graduated. She was very intelligent. She could speak 2 different dialects of people, but without her, we would have had a hard time doing what we did. So it was really nice. Yeah, there's dental pulling teeth. Drew Kessler, if anybody knows who he is, right here, and his wife Vicky. They came the second place, the second day, I think it was, they showed up. They were already in South Africa for opening a peace center in Johannesburg. So they came to kind of just see what was going on and see the whole operation, because this was the largest of these type of missions.
Yeah. So Drew is a Rotary director,
right.
Zone director, I guess.
Yeah. So a big wig who shows up, and he jumped right in and worked. He was there for 3 days, and I got pictures of him doing everything. He was great, and his wife was too. They live in New York. He's an Eagles fan, and she's a Packers fan. So it was kind of funny, but they were excellent. So he's helping with Connie. There's Joe. A lot of kids who couldn't do any eye testing, we'd have to just send to Joe, and he would have to check them out, because you can't get them because they don't speak or they don't whatever. And there were some kids who were really tiny, but they had issues obviously, and then they would take a look at them. There's Drew at dinner one night, just giving us a lot of stories and stuff like that. He was fabulous, but I think he really enjoyed himself, and I think he'll take back that this is totally worthwhile. We stopped. This was another one of these huge babo trees, wherever you call them, just at some guy's house, shack. So 2 buses stopped one morning. We all get out. You just wonder what these people are thinking, because we're just at somebody's little home, and we went out and took pictures. And then, of course, we gave all of a sudden the kids just come out of nowhere. It's like deer coming out of the woods, they just come out of nowhere, and we're giving them all candy and stuff, and they were having a blast. But we took some pretty nice pictures with that tree. The last place was kind of unbelievable. You're in this poor area, and here's a spanking brand new hospital. Nicer than hospitals around here. Totally outfitted, computers, desks, phone systems, operating rooms, everything. But it's not been open for 2 years because they don't have staff. Yeah. And I'm shocked that they actually let us go in here. I'm shocked that they let us go in, but they did, and we used quite a bit of that hospital.
In the eye clinic, we had a biomicroscope, which we used in our office, as opposed to the little handheld ones we usually use. And we actually had to take all the packing material off of it. But I had 2 foreign bodies I had to take out, so it was nice to have that. Yeah.
Right. So anyways, this was us going there the first day. This is the line of people waiting for us. There's Alana again. Now, this was interesting. We're in trying to figure out how to do the Fraptors, where to put them on, and they wouldn't let us drill into any of the walls. Okay, remember that show, MacGyver? So we found this room is a PT room. See the weight bench? It's a weight storage thing, which is really heavy. So they put wood on it so we could drill all the stuff into them. We got 4 of them on. It wasn't ideal, but it was the best we could do, and it worked. We got through the 2 days. Without that, I don't know what we would have done, because you have to drill into something, and we weren't allowed to. This is just some pictures of the building. This place, you guys were lucky because you had nice air conditioning.
We had air conditioning
in this room.
That's good.
Not air conditioning everywhere in the building, but they had air conditioning in their room. This was one of the guys here from the local chapter of the Rotary Club. He was there almost every day, this guy.
Most of the days it was 100 degrees.
Yeah.
Was the high.
That's one of the doctors that was following around the I team all the time. We were training him. Okay, this girl over here, I'm pretty sure this was the first time she saw a white man. I had a couple kids tell me that. You're the first white man I ever saw. Which, that's kind of crazy when you think about it. But that's a funny picture of her. That's the whole Danish team. They were great. We did go to a place one night to shop. And there's not a lot of places to shop there that you'd want to stop. But this place was nice. It was a craft place that they're basically training the local women to make things, to sell, that whole process. And I know I have a picture. Yeah, this girl told us all about it. This is inside of it. But it's basically like a charity there that they're training people to be able to make crafts. But some of the stuff was absolutely beautiful.
Glenn, you talked about that they don't speak English, but all the sign.
Yeah, it is. But I would say the elite.
I think the upper people all speak English, but the people we were seeing, were not educated.
Yeah,
to that level.
Yeah, at least 70% of who we saw did not speak English. Just some other pictures. But yeah, that thing just cracks me up. You can just tell, I mean, everybody's smiling. Now, does that guy look like Urkel? Well, of course, we told him that. He doesn't know who Urkel was. But, yeah, it was good. Yeah, they're pulling teeth outside. I mean, it's just crazy. They did have an ultrasound machine at this place, so that was kind of nice. And we had one girl on the team that was doing all that. So this was another thing. We put the eye test up on the wall with duct tape, and as soon as Vicky did that, one of the guards walked by, and it's all military. They walk around, they got the guns on them and everything, but they're very nice until you do something that they're going to shoot you. She got yelled at because you can't put this on the wall. It's going to peel the paint. And Vicky got all scared, and she said, "Oh no, it's special tape. It won't peel."
Yeah, you got to realize Vicky's like grandmother, nicest woman in the world.
She was scared to death.
Would never lie.
She was answering to save her life. So I called her out on the whole 4-way test thing that night. But it didn't peel the paint off, which I thought for sure it would. The last night we had a nice big outdoor meal, and we invited the 9 people from the local Rotary chapter. Plus there was like a health minister and some local dignitaries and people like that were there. But we all knew that we're not going to fit in the building because we barely fit ourselves, and all these extra people come in. So what are they going to do? And they said, well, we're going to go outside. And our initial thought was, oh my God, it's still so hot. And the bugs, and but it turned out to be perfect. The temperature dropped, and it was a great night. Everybody had a good time. That was a nice send off. There's the Rotary Club. And what they did was, I think it was Connie actually who did it, right?
Yeah, I think Connie paid for Paul Harris Fellows for all of them.
Yep. So they all got Paul Harris Fellows that night, which they'll never be able to get. They don't have the money to make Paul Harris. She, I guess, gave up points or paid or something to get them all Paul Harris Fellows, which they were totally blown away by, which was good. All right, so forget this other picture. Over here is the people from Dubai. They had a big flag. The Rotary flag, and they had everybody sign it, and they're going to auction it off at their club. So somebody said, well, why didn't you bring a flag from Dubai? And he says, oh my God, if we would have done that, we'd get killed. Like, you can't deface the flag over there. Like we could do here. But so they brought their Rotary flag, which was kind of cool. But yeah, they're going to auction that off. So the squirrel, Joe, tell them.
All right. So the last day, we're packing up the crates. It's like Glenn and me and like
Bob,
4 or 5 other people, and it's all sweaty. The rest of the team goes back. Dinner's supposed to be at 7. We don't get back till 7:40, and we get back there like, okay, we moved dinner to 8 for you guys. All right, so we had 20 minutes where we wanted to go get a shower. Okay, so we go back to our room, and Glenn's gone first. He gets all naked, starts to walk to the bathroom. He gets in the bathroom. I hear this screaming. He's in there screaming like a little girl. Okay. And he comes running out, slams the door, and he's like, there's something in there. It's this big. So
which is true. There it is. It's that big. So I'm like, it was a squirrel. And I'm like, we hadn't seen a squirrel there. I'm like, maybe it wasn't a squirrel, but I thought it was a squirrel. And it was. It came out of the ceiling, and it was in the bathroom. So there was a hole in the ceiling of the bathroom, and I'm like, so we flagged down one of these, like they have these little watchmen guys that go around that help us get to our rooms because there are animals there and they don't want people walking around at night. So we flagged one of those guys down. He comes in the room, and I told him, I said, there's a squirrel in our room.
He doesn't speak English.
He doesn't speak English. So he walks in the bathroom like there's nothing. He walks in. I don't hear the squirrel running, nothing. So I peek in, and he goes, come here. I go in the shower, and there's this little tiny gecko on the wall. And he goes, this? I go, no, it's a squirrel. But we couldn't find it. It's not there. So I'm thinking it must have ran back up that hole. We looked. There's not many places it could hide. No problem. So he leaves, comes back.
With a can of
We told him to get tape to tape the hole, like duct tape or something. He comes back with a can of off. It sprays in the hole. Well, now we're safe. I mean, everything's good. So I'm like, geez, but he wasn't there. So we're running late. So I go take a shower, and Joe goes in and takes a shower, and then the power goes out. So Joe's in there, pitch black dark. Could have been a lot worse. Power comes back on. Joe opens the door and comes out, and the squirrel runs right underneath him into the bedroom. So the squirrel was in there when I took a shower and when he took a shower. And the only place it could have possibly been, there was like a light sconce on the wall. We think it was up in that light sconce the whole time we were in. Oh, my God. So now it's in the bedroom. We lock the bathroom door. We go to dinner, and we tell the girl that you saw over here in charge of the place, we said, there's a squirrel in our room. I want photo evidence that it's dead, or you're going to find another place for us to stay because we're not sleeping there with this squirrel running around. She takes 2 girls with her. She comes back in like 10 minutes and shows me the picture. God love those people.
They must have beat it with a broom.
Yeah. So I'm sorry we did kill some. And Vicky was upset that we killed the squirrel. Yeah. So this was the day we're leaving. So they got people going to safaris that we did not go on. They got people leaving to go that way. We have people leaving to go to this huge international airport of McFowey, which is as big as Funk. So we're there for, I don't know, a couple hours till we leave. The only post office I never saw a FedEx truck, a DHL truck, a post person. I never saw a mailbox. I don't know how they get anything, but we did see a post office and it had there must have been like 30 boxes in there. So maybe only organizations get mail. I don't know. But we jumped on this plane and we flew back 45 minutes, the same distance as the 10-hour, 11-hour bus ride, which really made everybody upset. We got to Lusaka and we're walking back to the main part of the airport. That airport's beautiful. I mean, there's definitely a lot of other countries' money in all these big structures. They're gorgeous buildings. We decided, because we had a layover till like 2 in the morning. It was ridiculous. We went to town and went to a mall. So picture yourself going to a mall in 1970. That's what we did. That's what it was like. But all the stores were filled. It was kind of nice. We got a burger, some real food, and then we went back to the airport and we just had to basically hang out and sleep. People were sleeping and until we got our flight. And they're still there. I mean, there's so many times you just walk out on the runways and there's not a whole lot of security. It's just, get on, there's your plane, which is kind of cool. So we flew we went from, I don't have the picture, but we went from Lusaka back up to Addis. And instead of going up north, they flew straight across to Lome, which is Togo. Yeah. And then we left there and went back to D.C. I watched at least 2 movies, and we were still in Africa. You couldn't get out of Africa. We're right on the coast, but we went north, and you wake up and you look at the map, and you're like, we're still in Africa.
We're like flying through Africa for 2 days.
Yeah, it's crazy how big it is. Out of Africa, yeah. I think somebody already did that. This was the final picture now it's not everybody, but it's everybody that was staying with us at that place, which was nice. Nice big picture of everybody. These were some of the numbers. They're probably pretty accurate. I don't know. Everything had paperwork, and people have to calculate it all. I think that's pretty good.
So a lot of the leaders went on the safaris. They just got back like a day or 2 ago. So I was trying to get numbers from them. So this is what they sent yesterday.
What's that facial suit I've ever seen?
Yeah. So those are the different names of the 3 places that we were in, and divided by dental, medical, and totals.
Yeah. Now Bob had 1088. Cindy had 1008.
Yeah. So. But it did ultrasounds and ECGs, 100 of them each. So I mean, a lot of work was done. Everybody was exhausted every day. Yeah.
So typical day, you started when and you finished when?
Well, it depends. The first day we got up like at 4:30 because I don't know why. Well, we got up really early and we had breakfast and we were there early. The next day they said we don't have to start that early. So I think we were going to breakfast at like 6:30 or something like that every day. 6:37. We would get home 6, something like that. Take a quick shower, go to dinner, go to bed. And there's nothing else to do, and you're exhausted. But that was a typical day.
Again, what were the dates?
We left the 29th of October, or
It was-
something like that.
Yeah, the days in clinic were November 1st to the 6th.
Yeah. So we got back a week ago.
Why is their eyesight so poor?
Well, I'll let you answer
Well, we
that, I
had
guess.
anybody over 70 had cataracts, bad cataracts.
Well,
So-
didn't you mention though that so many kids couldn't see?
Yeah, well, the albino kids
The
couldn't see
albino
well.
kids, their eyes don't form properly. So they a lot of times albinos will have what's called nystagmus, where their eyes are always searching because their maculas don't form properly because of the lack of pigment. So, but I think a lot of younger people that weren't albino were passing your test pretty
You'd
good.
have
Yeah.
one with perfect vision in one eye and can't see anything out of the other. Probably had an injury somewhere along the line. They
A lot
can't
of,
even
yeah, a
tell
lot
you
of
where.
injuries. I saw a lot of people. I saw more people here that were missing an eye that had their eyes taken
Yeah.
out because of injury. So
I don't know if it was like that there, but I know when we were in Malawi, there's dust, there's bright sun.
Yes.
We don't wear sunglasses.
Yeah, we had-
So you had all that stuff together. and
Right.
Yeah.
almost everybody complained of the dust and the wind and the
Yeah.
scratchy, itchy eyes. Yeah.
Scratchy, itchy. Yeah.
It was also springtime here in their country, so everybody had itchy eyes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of cataracts, were you able to help those people?
What we would do, if anybody that had cataracts, glaucoma, anything else, we had sheets that we filled out, and we were going to give those to the Ministry of Health, and they would coordinate when a cataract mission would come through. So sometimes, like Dr. Ali, his out in Lebanon, he has that international cataract work that he does. So when a mission like that would come along, then they would hook them up with that.
They wouldn't have to screen them. They've already been screened, so that's good. Saves time.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
We've heard from mission trips in the past where people with albinism are at risk of violence because of like medicinal things in some cultures. Was that the case here? Were those kids in danger?
I didn't hear that as much. I was observing the locals, how they interacted. I didn't see that conflict. I know it was more of a concern in Kenya, and Uganda.
Because they were
Malawi
mixed
too,
in with other people, and I didn't see any, like, I'm not sitting next to him or any of that. Everything was pretty normal. Yes, Dave?
But the level of having capacity to go out to the drugstore on the corner and buy XYZ products, it's not there. It's the property is
Yeah.
Correct. Right.
Right.
ongoing battle.
Right.
Yeah.
They have no resources whatsoever. Yeah.
In 2001, I was in Ghana
Yeah.
with a Rotary team. I think it's important that this is Rotary at work.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Ken?
Sorry I have so many questions, but I'd like to get your reaction to it. You know, we think going in as Americans that everybody is going to be sad because they're poor. And your picture showed that they don't know what
Yeah.
they don't have.
No.
They're happy.
Well, I'm going to modify that a little bit. I think they do know now because they all have cell phones, which I was shocked, right? And you could call. Like, I could call home and talk to my son or my wife from one of these places. But I didn't see cell towers. Like, what? How is this working? It's the Chinese. They're selling them cell phones that cost like $3 a month. And they have WhatsApp and they have Facebook. So they do know things now that maybe they didn't 10 years ago. But they're very happy people. They were so polite. Even, at the very end of the day, those people have been waiting in line all day. Most of it outside. They're tired. They're dressed to the nines like they're going to some wedding, because this is a big deal for them. And they're just like, I would always, greet them, and especially the women all dressed up. I would always say something like, "My gosh, your outfit's beautiful," and they would, just to make them comfortable. But they're so happy, and the kids are happy. Like, yeah, it's a lesson that, maybe I won't complain when the cable goes out anymore. But that's what you notice. It's crazy.
You talked about the poverty, but some of the things you showed too, it took a lot of money to build these.
Yeah, but I don't think it's their money.
Foreign money in that.
Yeah.
Is there an upper class that has?
Yeah, there is.
elite that
There is, yeah.
Yeah. We didn't see where they lived or, you know, down in
Except that
in
one house.
Lasaka, you would see some fancy cars, like you'd see BMWs and Mercedes. But where we went on that 10-hour bus ride, there isn't a car or a truck that's 20 years new. They're that old. I mean, everything is just old. They have little stands along the road, like they just repeat over and over again. Guys fixing tires, you know, like just, and they're doing it in such a primitive way. They have no equipment. It's crazy. But yeah, there's no. And the girl that helped us, Alana, like I asked her, do you have a bike? She said no. And they live in a community of family, so there's a big family that lives together. Her uncle has a bike. That's the only person in their family that had a bike. So at the end of this whole thing, we wanted to thank her, and I gave her $100 to buy a bike, which she did. And I don't have the picture up here, but like that was life changing for her. A bike. It's crazy, but it was. So because she can't go very far to find work. Now she can go a little further, you know. But it's tough.
And everybody just walks along the road.
Yep, up and down there. And at night, there's no lights. She said we actually did hit a goat in the bus.
Goat, yeah.
I don't have that picture or video, but we hit, yeah. But Alana said the people get hit all the time. Like there's no investigation. It's just part of life. You know, lost somebody got hit by a bus. Yeah.
When's the next mission?
I don't know. But I would definitely go on one, and if I can beat her out of another one, I'm going.
When is your next mission?
I don't know. Oh, Ghana. Yeah, we're gonna
Ghana
100th.
2025. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, sorry, I forgot about that.
You're taking me out of that. I have a passport now.
But yes, Tim.
I'm curious. You said I hadn't thought about this. There's no lights. So at night, is the sky just stars? Milky
Yeah.
Way, like is it what
They-
it should be here? But
Yeah, yeah. But when you're driving down the road at night, the only lights are the headlights, and some people don't even have headlights on their vehicles. They
Yeah. Don't turn them on.
and you're driving on the wrong side of the road, which is crazy when you hit a roundabout, because in the cities there's roundabouts. When you go in the roundabout wrong, you know you're
Yeah, it took
you're
me,
panicked.
It took me all week to figure out in the hallway that I should be walking on the other side. I kept like, the locals would be like, sorry.
Yeah. But in the little, I don't even want to, like, the little villages have little centers of where there's more activity. It's not even a town center or anything like that, but there's solar lights and stuff like that on some businesses. But I don't think there's running power except at maybe the hotels and things like that. Yeah. We did see some water, you know, like you've seen it on Rotary things before where they have the big well pumps. We did see several of them along the way. But it was good. Any other questions? Okay, Julie.